So this week's episode of To Your Eternity, it really sets in motion an interesting plotline. I mean, I was perfectly content with just having Fushi wander around, gaining new experiences, but actually have seemingly the Maker pop up and observe how he was going to interact and deal with such a threat that could literally harness all of his memories and forms. And the worst part is he can't even remember what was took from him, he just knows something was taken from him. Like, there was some twistedness to this thief, and it was interesting to me because at first I thought maybe the Maker, the guy who's been talking to us at the beginning of all episodes and kind of narrating Fushi's life, I thought he set it on him, but it seems like no, it was sent to kind of stop their plan, seemingly to prevent some sort of catastrophe from occurring, and that got pretty interesting. Though I will say, even without him actually physically appearing, I was going to compliment how I like how the recaps in these episodes, generally what you see with anime, they'll say, okay, we're going to take like the first 30 seconds to a minute to like refresh what happened in the previous episode. And while they definitely do that in To Your Eternity, they do it so differently that really is impressive because it's not worth skipping. Because with each episode, he gains new experiences. Even if he doesn't gain a new form, there's new experiences and memories. And the way the Maker, this voice, like narrates the changes and why his behavior is doing certain things, it really makes for an engaging refresher without making it skip-worthy. So you naturally transition to that opening, which who the hell's skipping that opening, right? So it just makes the entire episode worth engaging to, which is pretty impressive. Now, to actually see the difference in how he goes about his day-to-day life, when it comes to food, obviously he switches to March and he climbs trees to get the apples or the pears, whatever they are, right? And then when it comes to wandering, he's generally in the wolf form. He doesn't go to the bear form, except at the end of the episode as a last resort because it feels pain. And it's interesting because each of the forms still suffers the same wounds. The boy obviously has the leg wound. The girl, March, has the arrow to her back. The bear has all the spikes and spears and things throughout it. So whatever happens to that person that influences it, or animal in the case of the bear, it very much just keeps that form going. And I'm going to be interested to see the next time Fushi transforms into March, will the arrow still be there? Because she originally ripped out the arrow as she was going after the heart of this beast. So I'm curious to see, will it continue to have the arrow inside his back, or will it be gone now that it's kind of overcome that piece of trauma for March's design? It's very interesting to watch an episode like this where there was a lot of goofy fun that I really enjoyed. I really felt like this old lady and Fushi were like the two greatest companions. I didn't think I was going to enjoy it as much as I did, especially considering that, you know, we literally have this old woman wanting to eat our boy's leg here because, well, what she's saying makes sense. I mean, no matter what happens, he's going to regenerate. Why not cook it up on the barbecue? And I'm like, when you're starving, I get it, but then again, there's all these fruits in the trees. Maybe we don't resort to cannibalism just yet. We give it a bit of time, right? So it's interesting to see because we very much have the exact same interaction that March had towards Fushi when they met, except now Fushi is doing it to this woman, where he's like basically eating the food, he's enjoying his life, she's begging, she's howling, he throws food at her, and she's literally eating as if she's a wolf in a human form. It was really cute to see the throwbacks, even though it's only a few episodes back. It's nice to see that the memory of March will definitely continue to live on in this orb, and it's a really engaging plotline for that. When she started talking about how they're going to go visit her lover, I was like, oh man, by the time they get there, this man's gonna be dead, right? Because she doesn't look like she's that young to begin with. How long has she actually been gone for? And based on the preview, it seems like he is there, unless that's a completely different person, which is kind of shocking. But then again, we had an episode where literally branches come alive, which that was in the preview for this episode. But I thought it was just going to be a general like forest coming alive. I wasn't expecting literal harnessing of your memories and forms and stripping you down. Had he lost his March, he would have been stuck as a rock. That was the last thing he had, and what the hell could a rock do? I was almost expecting the March form to be gone, the old woman to pick up the rock and throw it at the heart. I was totally expecting something like that. Because if they would have removed every form, Fushi not regaining them, I think it would have been too bitter for this point in the story. Could he lose his memories down the line? Potentially. But I don't think it'd be what the viewers want to see at episode 6 of To Your Eternity. We have a 20-episode season confirmed. The manga's ongoing. Don't do it to us. We just lost two very important characters to us, both the boy and March. We don't need to have this happen again. So I like how there's definitely stakes, and I honestly had no idea how the orb was going to deal with it, because while I knew the bear form was going to be very relevant, the fact that as soon as it pretty much stabs into the skin, it sucks it out like a life-draining attack, and how do you deal with that? And if it wasn't for, honestly, this creature pulling Fushi away, it would have been game over, right? Because the only reason that heart was ripped from the core was because of the force ripping her away. And that's pretty frightening, because there's a long way to go, and while there's definitely been a lot of progress for Fushi as a character, Fushi is learning to speak quite a bit, and I think it's a good point to honestly let Fushi start to talk more normally. Obviously, there's still inconsistencies with the speaking pattern. A lot of the words don't come out as fluent. The voice actor for Fushi is absolutely amazing. It really brings out a kind of like a person who's never spoke before, now learning to speak. It's absolutely incredible. But the idea of how it's interacting with its environment and how it's fighting to survive, I think there's just so many new interesting possibilities that can now occur given what just happened, with some sort of end goal in sight, the mystery of an end goal as he just simply experiences day-to-day life, and most likely the next episode will be trying to understand the immortality angle all the more, right? While initially you might have an opinion on a character, whether it's, oh, this is a crazy old woman, or I'm not going to like this old woman, I personally thought she was going to be the type of character who would be that nurturing old grandma type dynamic where she'd be like, okay, Fushi, we're going to teach you how to eat. No, we had this crazy girl who was starving and literally tried to eat Fushi, and Fushi had to act like March when he met March for the first time. They definitely play with your perspectives of where things are going to go, and with the gorgeous presentation from the attack animation with the vines coming every which angle, the expressive body reactions like him literally learning how to drink water as a human, even though he started out as a wolf like licking it in his hands, he actually learned to slurp given how she was doing it, right? There's so many different mannerisms that feel so genuine for something that started as an orb, turned to a rock, turned to a wolf, turned to a boy, turned to a girl and a bear. Like, I mean, that's exactly how this should go, right? It feels like the way he's becoming more human and the experiences that he learns, death and life, both of those have an equal influence on it, and I really enjoy that about this show. Another 10 out of 10 episode, I loved every minute of it. It could have just been them walking through a forest the entire episode, and I would have still said it was just as good. Though with the introduction of the Maker here, it makes it all the more fascinating. I have heard some people say that the way this season will end, if the pacing is to be what is expected via the manga readers, it should, I guess, be a satisfying stopping point from what I heard. Now, it's going to be interesting because, to me, when I originally heard that, I was like, well, yeah, of course. I mean, there's just going to be a bunch of arcs of a character wandering and growing, right? But now with the introduction of having that voice who's been talking with us for so long, I'm really curious to see if there is a way to leave it open-ended and satisfying while leaving room for more without making us say, but there's this big mystery we don't know about yet. Are you going to explain it, right? Obviously, I don't want spoilers, but it does get my mind racing even more to see how this season will end with the conclusion of episode 20, confirmation of season 2, or is it going to be open-ended and conclusive enough to leave anime viewers okay if they decide to or don't decide to check out its source material? Thoughts and opinions down below, your favorite moment, whatever you're feeling, do let me know. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, share your support, and hit that subscribe button if you're happy new around here. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.